And of course, when you look at different governments, what happens if there's a more conservative government and then they get their people appointed to the certain positions, and then the arbiter of that truth is the opposite of what the Albanese government would like now? I wouldn't be for that either. Free speech is free speech.
It'd be kind of funny.
It would be very funny.
But
if you're going to defend free speech, censorship is going to be one of those parts you actually have to say, I don't mind people saying things. Obviously, when it gets to be anything actual incitement of violence, and you have to be really clear on that. So it's incitement of violence isn't saying this person said something I don't like, therefore these people might attack them. That's not incitement of violence. It's actually trying to rally people to do a violent act is incitement of violence.
Yeah. I mean, there's just common sense with stuff. But just because someone says something about COVID one year and then a year later you find out that it's completely, like, what they said was completely true. I mean, how can you go, oh, that's misinformation? It's misinformation based on a feel or based on a government policy. It's not misinformation based on any fact. And that's the thing that'll be scary, is if they start doing that, imagine if we had a misinformation ministry during COVID. It'd have been worse than what it was. It was bad enough as it was.
It felt like we did have one.
But just imagine it, and then most of those things that people were saying about COVID and about the vaccine and all that. Well, yeah, it's funny. Most of the so-called crackpots and conspiracy theory people, it's all come true.
And you see these places, you go, okay, they have similar policies in places like China.
Yeah.
They have similar policies in places like Russia. Why would we want to be going down that road? This is the very thing that separates us from those countries.
Yeah, that's right.
So, no,
100%.
it's ludicrous, and the fact that I think actually is going to be one of their biggest political divides. And I put a post up during the week to another one. I think the economy is going to be the central issue of the campaign, and structurally. Yeah. But I think maybe the hill that Anthony Albanese will die on is social cohesion. If you look at everything he's done, but from the voice to Parliament, and he's divided Australia in that way, and he's actually set Aboriginal people back, I think, with the way he handled that. And he could have pulled out of that. He had so many opportunities when it was going south, and he progressed with his own agenda rather than protecting others.
It was just going to happen because Albo's so awesome.
Because Albo's such a champion. You have a look at the way he's been such a fence-sitter with the Israel-Gaza.
Yeah.
I don't actually... I know where he sits on this, but I think an outside observer would go, depending on what day is who he's speaking to, is who he's supporting. And of course, the fact we've been so weak on it...
It's all platitudes.
It is, but the fact we've been so weak on it
with anything
has made that from day one, when we had people in the Sydney Opera House yelling out, "Gas the Jews," one of the most awful things I've actually seen in a mass group within this country.
Yeah.
The protests that we've seen, what we saw in Melbourne last week, absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
That is not the Australia I grew up in. That's not the Australia I know. And I think the people that are going to be to blame is the people in power who stood and did nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
So the social cohesion part for me, I think, is where the quiet Australian... And there might not be Australians that have necessarily a view on the Middle East because they just don't follow world politics that much. But what they do see is their country is changing and becoming a more, more divided, more divided, more dangerous, and less about the core values that we've always stood for. And I think that's the part that I think he's really going to struggle come the election.
Yeah, no, 100%. Oh, look, I still think it's...
And that's on top of the economy.